Last night, Conservative Party leader Andrew Scheer fired MP Maxime Bernier from the Conservative Party's shadow cabinet. And now I need your help to do something about it. I really don't want to do a big deep down dive on what supply management really is, so I'm just going to give you a brief Reader's Digest version. In Canada, our dairy and eggs are under a quota system, meaning farmers can only produce a certain volume of their produce. And so what this does is artificially inflate the price to the consumer. It's basically a command economy created for these two products. And if a farmer overproduces his quota, sometimes he has to literally spill milk on the ground so that he's not creating an oversupply of milk that would drive the cost down to the consumer. The farmer, in the end, could have made a little bit of money selling the milk at a discount, but instead he gets nothing because he has to protect the quota. And supply management, really, it hurts farmers, but it hurts the poor too, because they're the people who can least afford to pay artificially inflated prices for these basic foodstuffs. And it jeopardizes trade deals with our trading partners because they're trying to sell dairy into our market that's being produced freely and cheaply, as opposed to under a quota system. And so to protect the overinflated quota prices from being driven down by this influx of cheaper dairy, Canada has imposed exorbitant tariffs on imported dairy products. It's like a bad Stalinist joke, controlling the supply to drive the cost up to the poor and enrich the wealthy farmer. And dairy farmers, yeah, they're pretty wealthy when you factor in the value of their quota. Many of them are millionaires. A command economy is Marxist at its core. It's not something that any conservative, I think, should ever support. But you know what? Some do. I suppose they have their reasons. Fine, whatever. I'm not the conservatism police. Which brings me back to Quebec MP Maxime Bernier. He was just removed by leader Andrew Scheer as infrastructure critic and sent to the backbenches for opposing supply management. Bernier has never made a secret of his views on supply management. He even wrote a chapter in his forthcoming book on supply management. And that chapter has been public for weeks on his publisher's website. Bernier even campaigned and very nearly won the Conservative Party of Canada's leadership race, and ending supply management was a central tenet of his very nearly successful campaign. And that race was close. I cannot stress how close the leadership vote was. 51% for Scheer to Bernier's 49%. And we all know now that it was Quebec dairy farmers who delivered the victory for Scheer. In the arcane rules of the Conservative Party leadership contest, every riding has the same number of points. So a rural Quebec riding with only 50 Conservative Party members counted as much as a Calgary or Toronto riding with thousands of party members voting. Signing up all those convenient Quebec dairy farmers based on a Bombardier-style promise to keep them wealthy and protect them from outside competition let Scheer beat Bernier 51 to 49%. And now Scheer is returning the favor. Scheer is letting the dairy cartel decide who can be a conservative politician in Canada, regardless of what a huge swath of conservatives actually want. And that, my friends, is just not conservative. And I don't mean big C official conservative. I mean small c, grassroots conservatives like me. We believe in freedom, we believe in free trade and small government, and no special favors or handouts for special interest groups like Bombardier or the dairy cartel. And you know what else we believe? We believe in letting MPs have the right to speak too. Bernier's book excerpt was published weeks ago, and his views on supply management have been well known for years. But now, because President Trump is threatening a trade war with Canada because of Canada's supply management system, Bernier is out. Everyone in all parties are rallying around Trudeau in some misplaced act of economic nationalism, despite Trudeau's bumbling, virtue signaling, and anti-Americanism just for the sake of it being the reason we landed in this mess in the first place. In the last week, being pro-Canada has morphed into being anti-Trump and pro-expensive cheese for some reason. We're in another dimension now. Bernier is actually being treated the same way the Liberal Party of Canada treats their pro-life MPs within their own ranks. You got to shut up or you're going to be demoted, even if you are doing your very best as an MP to represent the people who sent you to Ottawa in the first place. By tossing Bernier to the backbench for expressing a mainstream Conservative principle, Scheer is also tossing over 49% of his own party supporters to the backbench too. Imagine thinking it was politically wise right now to slap half the party in the face. I don't know who's advising Scheer to constantly score on his own net all of the time, but what I do know is Scheer's listening to the wrong people when he really needs to be listening to Conservative supporters, Conservative donors, and the Conservative Party of Canada membership who voted by half to support Bernier and Bernier's new ideas. I mean, think about it. Right now, we could and should be talking about how Trudeau has mismanaged the G7 meeting and any and all trade negotiations with the Americans in such a manner that it is now threatening to spiral the Canadian economy into the toilet. Instead, all anybody's talking about is the rift in the Conservative Party. Well done, Andrew Scheer. Well done. I hope the Liberals send you a thank you card for changing the channel so effectively for Justin Trudeau and his ridiculous eyebrows. You guys know I'm from a family farm. I make no secret about that. And I remember when the Conservative Party of Canada fought against the Soviet-style Canadian Wheat Board. I remember seeing farmers torn apart from their families in handcuffs, just fighting for marketing freedom. Farmers were sent to jail just because they wanted the right to make decisions for themselves about the products they produce without government or cartel intervention. And at the time, the Conservative Party of Canada stood behind those farmers because it's the right thing to do. It's a Conservative principle to believe in the ability to choose your own destiny and take responsibility for your own actions. But did you know that Conservative Party Policy 122 is to officially support supply management? It's right here, ironically right below that official Conservative Party policy to support autonomy and freedom for other farmers. I bet most party members and people who even voted for Andrew Scheer in the leadership race don't know that policy exists. Now, the great thing is that policy can be changed. You can do it in August at the Policy Convention in Halifax if you start to get organized right now. But in the meantime, Andrew Scheer is making the entire party toe the line on that policy, and he is effectively punishing the most outspoken critic within the Conservative ranks. And I know that there are good Conservative MPs that I admire and respect who do support supply management. And that's fine because I think conservatism is a big tent idea. Libertarians and social conservatives and even economic anarchists can all exist together if we have the shared goals of small government, low taxes, and personal responsibility. I don't want those supply management conservative types purged from the party either. I don't want an Andrew Scheer or Sheila Gunn Reid or Justin Trudeau ideological purity test for conservatives administered by the good folks at the CBC. I think Andrew Scheer should be a lot more like Stephen Harper. Just wait, hear me out here. After Harper won the party leadership in 2004, he was gracious and magnanimous towards his rivals. He even appointed people like Tony Clement and Peter MacKay to very powerful posts within his cabinet and his shadow cabinets. He didn't hold a grudge. Harper held out his hand in peace. He was ecumenical to those MPs' supporters as well. Andrew Scheer lost in Alberta, Manitoba, Newfoundland, Labrador, the Northwest Territories, Nunavut, and even Quebec. Bernier raised more money and signed up more party members than Scheer did, and Scheer is forgetting that. The party elites are forgetting that too. Sure, you know what? I'll concede it. Bernier's a little rambunctious and rough around the edges, but yeah, so are most conservatives who aren't those official elite conservative types traveling in the well-heeled circles of Ottawa and Calgary. If Scheer can keep a pro-carbon tax, pro-M103, blasphemy motion, red Tory, like Michael Chong on his front bench as the shadow minister for infrastructure, communities, and urban affairs, then surely there is room for a conservative with different ideas, like Bernier has, with ideas that will cost me less in the long run, not more. Andrew Scheer campaigned on defunding universities that didn't respect free speech and a diversity of ideas. Does anybody really, after seeing this wreck, trust him to follow through on that promise? I have a very hard time believing now that he would. Does anybody really believe that Andrew Scheer won't cave and capitulate on the carbon tax the very first time the Liberal or the mainstream media accuse him of being a Trump-style denier with Trumpian-style politics? I mean, Scheer did that when he whipped the vote on the Paris Accord and made his MPs march lockstep with the Liberals. Don't get me wrong, I genuinely like Andrew Scheer. All this being said, I like the guy. He is the leader. Even on his worst day, he is a better choice than Trudeau on his best. But being better than Trudeau is a low bar for leadership and success. I want Scheer to be the best conservative, and I want him to respect other conservatives with divergent ideas from the official party line. The Conservative Party of Canada will still call you when they need donations and volunteers and when they need to count on you for your vote. They're going to come around, I promise you, hat in hand, and they'll do it very soon. When the Conservative Party of Canada calls you up and asks you for more money, maybe let them know that you can't afford it this time because you spent all your money on cheese, milk, butter, and eggs. But there is more that you can do than just be snarky with the party. Things that we can do together. I have a petition. Don't worry, it's not even about supply management. Be supply management if you want, or not. That's something the party can sort out for itself in August at their next policy convention. My petition is about Conservatives not acting like totalitarian liberals, demanding ideological conformity from half of us. Here is my petition at SaveBernier.com. It reads, "We demand that Andrew Scheer respect the diverse range of conservative opinions within his own party on the issue of supply management, and we demand that he reinstate Maxime Bernier to the Conservative shadow cabinet." That's it. Let us debate ideas and let the best idea win. That's a conservative value. You can sign my petition at SaveBernier.com, and let's send a message to Andrew Scheer that he needs to respect half of conservatives who supported Bernier so that we can all get down to the business of beating Justin Trudeau. For TheRebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. I want to send a message to Conservative Party leader Andrew Scheer. He needs to respect the diverse range of opinions within his own party. MP Maxime Bernier represents the opinions and ideas of roughly half of Conservative Party members, and Andrew Scheer needs the support of those people to win against our slow-witted Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I want Maxime Bernier put back into the shadow cabinet, and I hope you do too. You can sign my petition calling on Andrew Scheer to do just that at SaveBernier.com.